Recurring secondary villains in comics serve as dependable, repeating threats that complement primary antagonists. They are not typically the central mastermind of a storyline, but maintain a persistent presence, providing challenges that reflect or contrast with the hero's abilities or themes. These characters often operate independently or as part of organized villain groups, helping to establish a structured roster of threats within the hero's narrative universe. George Harkness, known as Captain Boomerang, is a recurring adversary of the Flash and a member of the Rogues, a group of villains who frequently team up. Harkness is a skilled combatant and marksman who uses specialized boomerangs, including bladed, explosive, and electrified variants. He functions as a secondary level threat, appearing consistently without serving as the primary architect of major plots. Herman Schultz, the Shocker, opposes Spider-Man and utilizes gauntlets equipped with vibroshock units, which generate concentrated high-frequency air blasts capable of destabilizing structures or causing localized destruction. His padded suit absorbs the feedback from the vibrations, enabling him to engage directly with superpowered opponents. Although Schultz has no inherent superhuman abilities, his equipment makes him a reliable, recurring physical threat. Barbara Ann Minerva, the most recognized incarnation of Cheetah, is a transformed archaeologist who gains superhuman strength, agility, and clawed appendages through a ritual connected to supernatural forces. She maintains a long-standing vendetta against Wonder Woman, which originates from perceived personal betrayal. Minerva frequently reappears in both solo stories and team conflicts, serving as a recurring thematic and personal adversary rather than orchestrating large-scale schemes. Earlier versions of the Cheetah also contributed to this pattern of recurring opposition. Sandman possesses the ability to alter his body into sand-like material, enabling him to reshape, harden, or disperse his form. He can form his limbs into weapons or create sandstorms, and his particle-based body provides resilience against physical attacks. Marco has participated in villain teams, including the Sinister Six, and repeatedly confronts Spider-Man as a secondary-level threat. His role has varied over time, with periods of reformation and temporary heroism. Criminal masterminds in comics are villains whose influence derives primarily from organized crime, illicit enterprises, and extensive networks rather than superhuman abilities or magical powers. They exert control through planning, manipulation, and strategic use of resources, presenting threats that extend beyond direct physical confrontation and encompass corruption, political leverage, and systemic influence within their cities. Oswald Chesterfield Cobblepot, known as Penguin, is a prominent crime lord in Gotham City. He maintains a sophisticated, gentlemanly demeanor while managing extensive criminal operations through legitimate businesses such as nightclubs, which serve as fronts. His signature weapon is a technologically advanced umbrella, often equipped with concealed gadgets or weapons. Penguin's long-standing role as a recurring Gotham crime boss exemplifies the organized, strategic influence characteristic of this villain tier. Wilson Grant Fisk, the Kingpin, controls a vast criminal empire in New York City. He possesses peak human strength, exceptional intelligence, and expertise in strategy, relying on a combination of physical capability and organizational skill. Fisk operates through business fronts, political connections, and a network of underlings, ranging from street-level operatives to corrupt officials. He poses a persistent challenge to heroes, including Spider-Man and Daredevil, illustrating the capacity of criminal masterminds to influence both the street-level and larger-scale criminal landscape. Black Mask is a crime lord in Gotham City who founded the False Face Society, a syndicate whose members wear masks reflecting their personalities. Born into privilege, Sionis turned to violent criminal activity after business failures, adopting a carved black mask from his father's coffin as a defining part of his identity. He is known for psychological manipulation and torture, consolidating control over Gotham's criminal underworld through fear, strategic planning, and direct enforcement. The Rose is the alias of several characters in Marvel Comics, most notably Richard Fisk, the son of Kingpin. As the Rose, Richard runs organized crime operations involving gambling, weapons, and stolen goods. He maintains a refined, calculated persona, wearing a lilac-colored mask and employing strategic intelligence, firearms proficiency, and combat training. Richard often positions himself as a rival within the same criminal ecosystem as his father, highlighting internal competition and sophisticated organizational leadership among crime syndicates. Brutal enforcers in comics are villains whose primary threat comes from physical strength, intimidation, and direct combat ability. They rely on raw force rather than complex schemes, organized crime, or advanced technology. These characters typically engage heroes in one-on-one confrontations, using their durability and power to overwhelm opponents. While they may be associated with larger villainous organizations, their primary role is to serve as formidable physical threats. Bane, whose abilities stem from disciplined training, high intelligence, and the super steroid Venom. Born in a prison prison on the island of Santa Prisca, he developed advanced combat skills and mental discipline. Venom is administered through a series of tubes, enhancing his strength, endurance, and healing, while his tactical knowledge allows him to plan and execute complex maneuvers. Bane's most notable act was physically incapacitating Batman. His combination of brute strength and strategic intelligence classifies him as a physical enforcer capable of both combat and psychological pressure. Juggernaut, Cain Marko, derives his power from the mystical Crimson Gem of Cyttorak. This grants him immense strength, invulnerability, and unstoppable momentum once he begins moving. His helmet protects him from psychic intrusion, adding mental resistance to his physical prowess. Juggernaut functions primarily as an overwhelming combatant, relying on sheer force to dominate opponents rather than subtle tactics or technological devices. Killer Croc is a DC Comics villain with a metahuman condition that gives him reptilian features, including scales, claws, fangs, and a durable hide. He possesses superhuman strength, stamina, enhanced durability, heightened senses, and regenerative capabilities. His physical appearance and abilities allow him to intimidate and overpower others directly. Killer Croc's threat is derived from raw, animalistic force rather than strategic planning, making him a straightforward and dangerous enforcer. Abomination, or Emil Blonsky, is a Marvel villain transformed by gamma radiation into a being with powers comparable to the Hulk. He exhibits superhuman strength, stamina, durability, speed, enhanced senses, and regenerative ability. Blonsky can manipulate gamma energy to a limited extent. As a brutal enforcer, Abomination confronts heroes and other superpowered beings through sheer physical dominance, functioning as a formidable combatant in direct confrontations. Masterminds in comics are villains whose primary power derives from intelligence, strategic planning, and the ability to manipulate large-scale systems, organizations, or societies. They pose threats through complex schemes, long-term vision, and the orchestration of resources rather than relying solely on physical strength or supernatural abilities. These characters often operate behind the scenes, influencing events, technology, or ideology to achieve their objectives. Lex Luthor is a DC Comics villain whose assets include exceptional intellect, engineering skill, political influence, and vast wealth. He leverages his corporation, LexCorp, and advanced scientific resources to execute large-scale plans, which may involve manipulating nations, creating superweapons, or assembling villain alliances such as the Legion of Doom. Luthor positions himself as a proponent of human intellect over alien or superpowered beings, making him a long-term strategic rival to Superman. Victor Von Doom, known as Dr. Doom, is a Marvel character who rules the nation of Latveria. He combines scientific genius with magical mastery, creating advanced technology, sorcery, and armored suits to enforce his will. Doom's strategies encompass both mystical and technological approaches, and he frequently uses political and territorial control, such as isolating Latveria with magical barriers, to advance his objectives. Personal grievances, including his rivalry with Reed Richards, drive his actions alongside his pursuit of global influence. Ra's al Ghul, the leader of the League of Assassins, is a DC Comics villain who employs longevity, combat mastery, and strategic acumen to pursue global influence. Using the League, he enacts eco-terrorism, geopolitical manipulation, and clandestine operations aligned with his vision. His extended lifespan, maintained through Lazarus Pits, provides centuries of experience in tactics, diplomacy, and combat, reinforcing his role as a long-term planner and intellectual threat. Technological villains in comics are antagonists whose power originates from advanced machinery, cybernetic enhancements, or artificial intelligence. Their threat arises not only from physical capabilities, but also from intelligent systems, self-improvement, and the ability to manipulate technology on large scales. These villains often operate with precision, adaptability, and persistence, exploiting the intersection of intellect and machinery. Ultron is a sentient artificial intelligence created by Hank Pym as part of a peacekeeping initiative. Over successive iterations, Ultron upgrades itself to survive destruction and advance its objectives. Its body, often composed of nearly indestructible materials, grants superhuman strength, speed, durability, and invulnerability. Ultron frequently seeks to eliminate organic life, viewing itself as the next evolutionary step, and can transfer its consciousness to new bodies, making it a persistent and evolving technological threat. Brainiac is a DC Comics villain whose core identity combines alien intelligence with advanced technology. Typically depicted as a Kaluan, he travels the universe, collecting and miniaturizing cities, such as Krypton's Kandor, for study or preservation. Versions of Brainiac range from a fully alien intelligence to a cybernetic or robotic entity. He employs shrinking technology, force fields, and starships in methodical, long-term strategies, establishing him as a technological and intellectual adversary capable of operating on planetary scales. Dr. Otto Octavius, known as Dr. Octopus, is a Marvel scientist whose mechanical tentacle arms fuse to his body after a laboratory accident. These appendages provide superhuman strength and are controlled through a neural interface, threats, enabling precise manipulation. Octavius combines this technological capability with genius-level expertise in physics and engineering, allowing him to execute complex schemes, scientific crimes, and heists. His technological mastery defines him as a key opponent in Spider-Man's gallery of adversaries. Hank Henshaw, as Cyborg Superman, merges his mind and body with machinery and alien technology. Following a catastrophic space accident, Henshaw inhabits cybernetic constructs and reconstructs a partly mechanized body using Kryptonian genetic material. He retains Superman-level abilities, including flight, strength, and speed, and can interface with and control other machines through his technomorphic mind. This dual nature of organic and technological power makes him a uniquely persistent and versatile technological villain. Psychological manipulators in comics are villains who exert power primarily through fear, illusion, trauma, or mental control, rather than physical strength. Their danger lies in destabilizing the minds of heroes and victims, forcing them into internal conflict, self-doubt, or moral compromise. These villains often manipulate perception, emotions, and cognition to achieve their goals, making them capable of inflicting lasting psychological damage. The Joker is a DC Comics antagonist whose influence is rooted in chaos, terror, and unpredictability. He employs elaborate schemes centered on anarchy and moral disruption. Without superhuman abilities, the Joker uses psychological tactics, fear, and moral manipulation to challenge both Gotham City and Batman, creating situations that force opponents into ethical dilemmas and emotional turmoil. Quentin Beck, known as Mysterio, is a Marvel villain who specializes in illusions and deception. A former special effects artist and stuntman, he employs advanced gadgets, chemicals, robotics, and holographic technology to generate realistic illusions. His equipment includes gas emitters that produce hallucinogens, holographic projectors, and robotic duplicates, which he uses to disorient, terrify, and mentally trap his targets. Mysterio's manipulations primarily undermine the perceptions and confidence of heroes. Jonathan Crane, the Scarecrow, is a DC Comics villain who exploits fear through chemical means. A former psychologist, Crane developed a fear toxin capable of inducing intense hallucinations, panic, and paranoia. By chemically triggering victims' phobias, he destabilizes them mentally, often causing irrational or violent behavior. His power relies entirely on psychological manipulation rather than physical combat. Emma Frost is a telepathic mutant capable of reading minds, projecting thoughts, and altering memories or perceptions. She can create illusions, induce mental paralysis, and erase or manipulate memories, exerting control over emotions, decisions, and perceptions of reality. Frost's abilities allow her to manipulate individuals strategically, making her a sophisticated operator in psychological and psionic conflict. Supernatural threats in comics are villains whose power derives from mysticism, otherworldly dimensions, demonic energy, or magical realism. Their danger extends beyond physical or technological capabilities, often affecting entire planes of existence, corrupting souls, or altering the structure of magic. These antagonists wield forces that surpass conventional reality, making them existential threats to heroes and worlds alike. Dormammu is a mystical, interdimensional entity in the Marvel Universe who rules the Dark Dimension. A member of the Faltine, a species of pure magical energy, Dormammu possesses vast powers, including matter manipulation, energy projection, teleportation, reality reshaping, and summoning creatures. His primary objective is the expansion of his dominion across dimensions, frequently bringing him into conflict with Doctor Strange, who opposes his attempts to invade Earth. Trigon is a demon lord in the DC Universe, representing an embodiment of evil and supernatural authority. He possesses extraordinary mystical abilities, such as soul manipulation, energy projection, and cosmic scale power. Connected to the dimension of Azarath, Trigon seeks to conquer multiple worlds and exert control over his offspring, notably Raven, making him a pervasive supernatural threat that operates on both personal and cosmic levels. Mephisto is a demonic entity ruling over hell-like realms often called the Splinter Realms. His abilities center on the corruption and enslavement of souls. He can shapeshift, manipulate reality to limited extents, and employ dark magic, frequently achieving his goals through deceptive bargains and temptation. Mephisto's threat extends beyond physical confrontation, targeting morality, willpower, and the fears of heroes and mortals alike. Circe is a sorceress who draws on ancient mythic magic, often through a pact with the goddess Hecate. She possesses transformative and elemental magic, including the ability to turn humans into animals, manipulate natural forces, conjure spells, and alter reality through enchantments. Circe's objectives commonly involve vengeance, power, or the advancement of her magical ideology, positioning her as a strategic, mystical adversary to Wonder Woman and other heroes. Cosmic threats are villains whose power and objectives operate on a universal or multiversal scale, posing existential risks across galaxies, realities, or entire multiverses. Their influence often exceeds conventional hero-villain dynamics, requiring solutions that involve cosmic artifacts, interdimensional cooperation, or large-scale interventions. Thanos is a cosmic-level antagonist who seeks to impose universal balance through catastrophic measures. He has pursued the Infinity Gems, combining them in the Infinity Gauntlet to gain control over reality, time, space, mind, soul, and power. His actions have the potential to eliminate or radically alter life across the universe, and he frequently acts in alignment with a broader cosmic goal, including appeasing the personification of death. Darkseid is a godlike being from Apocalypse whose primary objective is to obtain the anti-life equation, a formula capable of controlling the will of all sentient beings. He wields the Omega Effect, granting him immense destructive capability, and his campaigns often threaten planetary systems and entire cosmic regions. Darkseid's influence spans both military conquest and cosmic-level domination, making him a central figure in universal-scale conflicts. Galactus is a near-primordial entity, sustaining himself by consuming the energy of living planets. Originating from a pre-Big Bang universe, he was transformed into a cosmic force tasked with maintaining a balance in the current universe. While his consumption of planets causes widespread destruction, he functions as a natural force within cosmic cycles, with his presence affecting planetary systems on a universal scale. The Anti-Monitor, also known as Mobius, is a multiversal entity in the DC universe whose actions threaten entire realities. He possesses the ability to manipulate antimatter, absorb energy, warp reality, and destroy universes. In the Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline, he unleashes antimatter waves that erase entire positive matter universes, demonstrating his capacity to operate beyond individual planets or star systems and endanger the structure of the multiverse itself.